What is up, everybody? Keith, aka Gator Guy 231, here to break down Saturday, October 24th, 3-game staggered EPL slate. I'm not gonna lie, researching this one, I'm kind of just gotten heartburn and not nearly as excited for the slate as I normally am. But by the end of this, I hope that I'm excited and that you will be excited too. Bottom right of the screen, I know that wasn't exactly the way to pump you up to hit that subscribe button. But if you're feeling good about it, bottom right, please hit that subscribe button. We are getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscriber, which allows us to do a lot more at FSI in terms of bringing you content. So please help us out if you are enjoying these videos. If you've watched them for a while, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way that you can repay us for the content. So I'm going to pull up cheat sheet, and then I think I'm going to do this a little differently than I normally do. Normally for those of you that watch for a while, we go through, kind of go over formations, players, tactics, things like that. And I really don't know if this is the slate that matters nearly as much. I really do think that this slate is going to test, I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. It's going to just test your ability to really just pick a route that you want to go and stick to it. And here's what I mean as we go down into the cheat sheet. And you can see, I think that Liverpool is, I don't think this is a hot take by any means, the most important decision on the slate. Like, you can easily just, and this is where I'm going with like picking the route you want to go. All right, you can easily just go, I think Liverpool is going to smash, score 2-3 goals. If so, we know it. The goals almost always are going to come from these three, with potentially the service from the fullbacks who, I always call them wingbacks because, like, if you truly watch, at least when, Fabinho wasn't playing center back, they really did play as wingbacks. Fabinho often was kind of the anchor point, like a really, really deep lying number 6, allowing Robertson and TAA just to bomb forward. I didn't get to watch the Ajax game. I'd assume that ultimately it's similar system, whether it's Henderson or Wijnaldum playing that 6 route. But, we know where the production is going to come from. And if you just go up and just say, hey, I'm not going to worry about the rest of what's going on. I'm going to play Alexander-Arnold. I'm going to play Robertson. I'm going to play Salah or Mane, and then the underpriced Firmino, who deserves that underpriced, but based on odds and just slate scoring, I think is underpriced. And I'm just going to let the chips fall with that. Like, I can't call you crazy. I think that is super in play, and honestly might be how I end up myself. And, all disclaimers aside, Liverpool fan here, so I'm going to try my best to keep my biases out of it, but it's hard, like the way Sheffield's playing, of just saying I'm not going to play Liverpool. My big concern, but I think you can get around it, is like Liverpool, especially the front line, just seems like they might need to do some rotation. And it wouldn't be crazy for them to do it. They play Champions League, I think, to their Tuesday or Wednesday. You have a ton of fixtures coming really quick and fast. You're going to have to rotate. So do you do it versus Sheffield at home? Do you play Firmino but play Jota over Mane or Salah? Or do you play Minamino through the middle? Like, all these different guys. The cool part is, I think one of Salah and Mane will definitely start. So if you plug in Salah, you can easily go to Mane if Salah's out. And if you plug in Firmino, you can go to Jota because of the way the pricing is. So you have routes to do that. Or do you just go, look, I think there's a chance that Liverpool is just kind of broken right now. After that Ajax game, they didn't look like they wanted to push forward. Everton, they had their chances. Salah and Mane both scored, but, it wasn't by no means like a DFS explosion by them. And you just go, I'm just going to go through the middle here. And I think that Chelsea and Man United is a 3 total as well. They might have goals. Maybe I don't want to spend the outrageous amount on a Liverpool forward. Maybe I want to go Timo Werner. If he scores, he's probably going to be within the range of Salah or Mane as long as they don't brace. I can do like an Ivan Cavallero. I can play Ziyech. I can just play one of the Liverpool wingbacks and do something like that. Like, I can't call you crazy either. So I really do think that you need to come into the slate and make those decisions early, because if you don't know that answer by the time Chelsea and Man U come around, like, you're going to be forced into that Liverpool route. So let's just kind of go over kind of the plays by the game. And then if anything else comes to mind, I'll go from there. I hope all that made sense. Anyhow, let's jump in. So I think for Crystal Palace and Fulham, first off, one really interesting thing about Fulham is the ball possession that they've had the last few games. They've outpossessed their opponents in both games. Crystal Palace, we know, is actually a team that is okay accepting pressure and playing on the counterattack. So it's kind of crazy to say, but Fulham might have a decent amount of possession. It could be like a 60-40 split here. I think first off, if you see Joe Bryan in, this might be a hot take, but I kind of think he's overpriced. He's a good player, but I think for that price, I'd rather go up to Robertson. I'm going to get into the whole TAA debacle here shortly, but rather go up to Robertson. And then I think Alex Telles, if in, is like a lock for me. He's just DFS goldmine, especially if he's playing wing back, which I think that Man United will keep that similar shape again. So, Joe Bryan to me just kind of feels overpriced. Yeah, he might jump on some sets. Yeah, he's, at times been the predominant set taker, but, coming off of injury, I think it's injury. If he's not, whatever. But, coming off not playing for a while, Robinson's been playing awesome for them. I don't necessarily know that he just comes back in and resumes his role. If he's out, Cavallero as a forward two took most of the set pieces for Fulham. It's actually a DFSN friendly player. He was playing kind of like a wing back, it looks like, from the formation last week. So I think he's 6,400. I think that's a really, really good cash play. Might not be the GPP upside you want, but really good cash play. Tom Kearney took a few sets too. He's 4,500. I think a lot of builds you're going to find yourself in that range. So I think he makes a lot of sense. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, incredible talent. Is taking over that. I never know how to say his name right, so apologies for my nickname, but John Yomama, I think it's Omana or Omama, whoever, the big number 10 that used to play for Spurs. But now that's Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who we know has a ton of talent, just looking for his opportunity to get it. Looks like he's going to be getting it at Fulham, 3,900. Yeah, no sets, no, he's not going to put up 7 crosses, but can he get you a couple shots, a shot on goal, a couple fouls drawn, maybe a shot assisted or two, get you 7 or 8 for 3,900? I think that makes a ton of sense. And I think that's Fulham, man. I think, Mitrovic, if you guys want a low owned GPP play, the way that they have him priced, I really don't think he's going to get much ownership. He's above the Chelsea guys. He's significantly below the Liverpool guys. He's just kind of in a dead zone. People are going to take Man United guys over him. Yeah, so I think that he might go low owned. Hell, this whole game, from a game stacking situation, means a 2.25 total. What idiot is going to stack this game? Maybe me at this point, just because I don't think it'll be owned. So you get a 2-2 affair, and maybe you're out in front. I don't think it's optimal by any means, but just if there's going to be a ton of ownership late, maybe that's a good place to get some leverage early. So I think that covers Fulham side. Crystal Palace, look, Townsend's price, he gives you a floor, but I don't see a way that you play it. He just got priced too high. The DK, pricing bot algorithm, whatever we want to call it, I think just overvaluing sets at this point. So I think Townsend's a little bit just too expensive for me. Yeah, if he gets a goal or assist, obviously he make me look like an idiot, but I don't think he necessarily has the upside at this 2.25 total with potentially being outpossessed. Yeah, I just think that maybe that's a fade for me. Just Crystal Palace sucks, man. Here's what I would just say. If you think in Fulham has looked better. A couple of weeks ago, I thought Fulham was just a disaster, and the shape and everything from the little highlights and little clips I've seen look a lot better. But if I'm going to go a Palace piece, Zaha now finally has PKs. He would have made us so much money in the past years if he took his own PKs versus Milosevic. But I think he's fine for an upside play, especially, Palace on the counter. That type of pace is good. IU, again, those are more tournament plays, but those are the 2 targets. I think I'd prefer to pay them at discounts to Townsend. So I think that's Palace for me. Let's go to Chelsea Man United. So I think Alex Telles is a lock for me. He was almost on the cover, but then I found this picture. I'm like, oh, okay, I like this better. Took corners midweek versus PSG, played left wing back. We know Alex Telles from UCL days is just a goldmine of DFS goodness. Even versus PSG, he already started looking that way. It lessens Bruno Fernandez's role, who also at his price tag, look, you need a goal. I mean, if he's splitting sets, I think you need a goal. I still like Fernandez, but I think that build-wise, you go, am I going to spend it for Bruno, or am I going to help fill myself a forward spot and take Salah or Mane? I think that's going to be a big decision on this slate. But I think Fernandez is fine. Like, I just don't think if Telles is in, he's the lock like of the century he's been in the past. And let's just be real, it's not a great matchup versus Chelsea. I'm really, really curious to see the tactics that OGS employs here. I think if he's smart, he actually does the same thing he did versus PSG, which might show Paul Pogba on the bench. I have no idea how well that would go, but they really took it to PSG in the way that United has actually played the best the last 2 years, which is on the counter. When they try to play pretty football, they try to like dominate possession. It's typically been when they struggle. So I think if he takes like a defensive shape and tries to hit Chelsea on the counter, who we know will open up, and maybe commit too many numbers forward, I think that makes a lot of sense. So to me, cash-wise, Telles, Bruno Fernandes, like if you choose not to play Liverpool, I think you can play Bruno. But I might argue if in that Ziyech from Chelsea might be like a better point per dollar play. So yeah, there's that. And I think Rashford, looked awesome versus Newcastle, looked awesome versus PSG. And by awesome, I mean like he potentially could have had a hat trick versus PSG. Still scored, but getting the opportunities. Again, Rashford on the counter is lethal. So, if you want to play him, Martial, I never, trying to think the right way, I never put at the same level as well, I cannot talk. I never put him at the same level as Rashford. So I think I'm always going to be Team Rashford over Martial. But yeah, so I think that's United for me. Wan-Bissaka, too defensive. But I guess it's fine. But with Telles, then I think his defensive responsibilities are going to go up. Chelsea side of things. So set-wise, they're kind of a mess, especially if Ziyech finally starts. He took some corners when he came on last league game, and then took some corners when he came on in the UCL. If you told me that Ziyech was going to play 90 minutes, I think I would actually say he's like a core play. That would be the only thing holding me back from him is that don't know if we're going to get 90 minutes from him. But, we know from his Ajax days, from his national team days, that he's just a really, really good DFS player, loves to cross the ball. Chelsea's going to be inviting towards the crosses, loves to shoot, all these things. So, this might be one of the last leagues we get him under 8K once he gets starting. He's going to be like a 9 to 10K player. So I think he's fine. If he's in, I think I'm immediately just going to probably stay away from the fullbacks. If he's out, I think Ben Chilwell is, the play over Reece James. We saw him likely being on more sets, James more open play value. But, if you want to play both, I think it works. Maybe correlate them with Timo Werner for like GBP play. I like that. Christian Pulisic, obviously very in play. Like, here's the thing about the Chelsea forwards and everybody is whoever scores the goal. Like, that's like our saying on our Discord channel is, we have two that, all new members kind of get thrown out eventually. When somebody like asks me, two guys, neither of them have a set responsibility or neither of them has like a better forward than the other. It's the one that scores the most points or it's the one that scores the goal. Like, that's the better play. It's not, there's no science to saying, oh, who's a better play, Marcus Rashford or Timo Werner. It's the one that scores the goal or the one that makes more sense in your lineup. Like, if you have a Chelsea stack going on, you probably should play Timo Werner. If you think United's going to win or you have United pieces, you probably should play Marcus Rashford. Hell, if you think the game's going to blow up, you probably should play both. So, sometimes these soccer picks are more about like results than process. And, it's not to say like your process was broken. It's just that sometimes it just boils down to like, look, Marcus Rashford had a great floor game of 9 to 10 DK, but he didn't finish his chances. Timo Werner only had 2 shots all game, but both of them went in. Was Werner a better play than Rashford? Well, of course, results-wise says yes. He scored 24 DK, Rashford scored 10. But, if those 2 chances don't fall, Rashford is a better play. So that's soccer in a nutshell and a results-driven game in a nutshell. All right, that's enough of Chelsea, Man United. Last game, Liverpool versus Sheffield. So it's kind of crazy that we have arrived at the time that Andrew Robertson is a better player than Trent Alexander-Arnold. But, results say that he is. Now, does that mean that this is the game that Trent shows up and shows us why, he was like an elite play and a plug-and-play all of last season? Yeah, very well could be. Or maybe Klopp just decides he needs to, get a day off and we see like a Nico Williams or I guess it would be Nico Williams. I was going to say Milner, but Milner just played midweek. So old man Milner needs to ice himself down a bit. But I think Robertson is the play. I mean, the two of them are equally splitting sets, and Robertson's just been better in open play. His crosses are actually resulting in shots, whereas Alexander Arnold, if you watch, the crosses actually suck on top of it all. So he needs to kind of get out of his own heads. Maybe a matchup for Sheffield, who's very much going to likely play sit back and try to hit on the counter. Might be a good position to do that. So I think for me, if I'm locking one of the two for cash, it's Robertson, and then maybe in GPP it makes a lot of sense if Robertson's going to be like 40 to 50% owned and Alexander Arnold's going to be half that. Just leverage off of that. Like realistically, floor wise, the two probably are like a couple of DK different from each other. With the reality that it's going to be a results driven type of thing. Like Alexander Arnold's cross results in a goal, while Robertson had 3 more shots assisted but it didn't result in a goal. So that assist equity pushed Alexander Arnold would be the better play. Let's talk about the front three. So I really do think, and it's sickening because I just never play him, but Firmino might just be too cheap, where I think I might play him in cash. I just think realistically, and here's the one thing I will just say, and I said this a lot, but if this is your first time watching and somehow you've made it this far, congratulations for listening to me ramble this long. And now you get to hear me talk about Liverpool. So Firmino, like a lot of people will say, like he leads the line for Liverpool. No, he really doesn't. He plays as a 10. Like he comes back really, really deep to get the ball at times, especially if Thiago isn't fit. Like Thiago kind of opens up where Firmino can be a little bit more forward, so Thiago can be on the ball. But when he's not, Firmino's job is a lot of times playing somewhat box to box, which is crazy for a guy listed as a striker to do. But he really is a false 9. His job is to actually distribute the ball to the 2 true strikers that just happen to play wide, which is Mane and Salah. So I've always called Liverpool's formation not a 4-3-3. I think in possession, it's actually a 3-4-1-2. So like you have Firmino sitting in the hole as like a 10, Salah and Mane, kind of just trying to work the spaces as 2, almost like a strikership pair, just from a wider part of the field, with Robertson and Trent Alexander actually playing as more like wingers. So, there's very much in possession and out of possession for Liverpool, to me at least. Soccer people come at me, I'm sure it's fine. I just had a lot of times watching Liverpool, and that's just what it always has looked like to me. But so that said, Firmino still gets involved. Number 10 still get involved. He's still going to have chances at shots. He's going to still have good assist equity too when the ball's played through him. He still can pick a pass as good as about any number 10 type of player in the EPL can. There's other passers I'm sure that are better, but Firmino is definitely up there. And at 5,700, given the odds, given the total, given everything, I think that he just makes a lot of sense. So I should say this though too: if he's not in, or let's say that he is in, but let's say that instead of Salah being in, Jota's in, or instead of, or Jota's in over Mane, to me, I immediately go Jota over Firmino. Just going to be from a wide position. It's going to be a better floor with equal scoring odds. And I just think at this point, it's just a better DFS play. We saw him look really, really good versus Villa, minus everything else in the game looking bad. So I like that a lot. Midfield 3 from Liverpool, just if you land on any one of them, you want like some Naby Keita in your life, which, look, as a Liverpool fan, we'd love nothing more than Naby Keita to finally show up again. But that's becoming more and more of a distant like hope for fans. So I think he's fine at the price tag. But like none of them are a must. Nobody has like a great floor or anything like that. They're there to be engines and work for the front line and help protect the back, especially with Adrian and Nets. They're here to protect the back. Sheffield, no, I'm just not playing anybody from there. If you want a YOLO, don't look at the floors. Like you don't, with a plus 1238 dog, you don't look at floors. You shoot for the goal. So, is it McBurney? Is it McGoldrick? Is it Sharp? Ryan Brewster, if you want a revenge narrative. As a Liverpool fan, I'm thrilled that they got 30 million or whatever it was for him. But, maybe a revenge, like I just said, revenge narrative goal. Sure, go for it. I have no idea who will start for them. Not going to spend much time looking into that, but just know it's like a GPP only. So with all that being said, I hope that I helped your builds. Again, I don't know if I did a great job of making my point or not. I guess you guys can tell me if I did. But I think, more than anything, you just need to choose what you think is going to happen. If you think Liverpool will score 3-4 goals, then you just stack the hell out of Liverpool and let the rest of the chips fall as they lay. If you think Chelsea and United is going to be like a 3-3 burn, then just stack it up. Like there's some good prices on them. And, potentially in the first game, just look for like a value play. If you don't see Brian Cavallero, I think makes a ton of sense for cash. And just go from there, guys. I guess where I'm going is outside of the only team I'm probably Xing out in the slate is Crystal Palace. But even with that said, I kind of like Zaha or Ayew for GPP. So I think that's my overall thoughts for the slate. Hope it helps. Just one thing I just wanted to disclaimer. I really appreciate a lot of people reaching out on Twitter. Thank you for the video, asking questions about EPL, all that good stuff. Just understand if you're not a subscriber to FSI and you DM me during lock of any of the games, there's a 99% chance that I'm not going to see it. I'm not on Twitter during lineup locks. I'm available to our members in our Discord channel. And that's where I spend my time during that time. So it's not meant to be offensive. I'm not trying to ignore anybody, but just understand that's the case. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, bottom right, subscribe. We really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great Saturday and good luck. See you.